Stroke Occurrence and Recovery through TSI Jerk and Instability Part 1, number 1579, VPT 115, March 21, 2026, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation, Category, Stroke and Research Methodology. Introduction. Following my previous 3 studies on TSI level, TSI velocity, and TSI acceleration, I now extend the dynamic framework one step further by introducing TSI jerk together with the concept of instability. This progression follows a very natural physics sequence based on Newtonian motion, state of greater than velocity, greater than acceleration, greater than jerk, greater than stability. This sequence is fundamental in engineering and physics. When applied to biomedical data, it provides a deeper understanding of instability mechanisms preceding stroke occurrence and the stabilization mechanisms during recovery. Therefore, this type of study must be based on longitudinal datasets in order to observe disease occurrence, development, progression, recovery, or final collapse as a complete dynamic movie. This approach is fundamentally different from traditional medical training, which relies mainly on population-based statistics derived from cross-sectional snapshots. In a snapshot, we only see one moment. In a movie, we see change, direction, and stability, which is an entire story, not a single scene. Disease development behaves more like a movie than a photograph. Using the movie of love story as an example, longitudinal, dynamic, nonlinear, physics-based medical research is similar to watching the entire relationship develop between two main characters over time. We observe how they meet, interact, encounter challenges, adjust, and evolve through different stages of their lives. In contrast, a traditional clinical visit with a laboratory test report is like seeing only a single scene of these two characters walking quietly along the bank of the Charles River in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That single scene may appear calm and normal, but it does not reveal the full story, the prior conflicts, emotional fluctuations, or the long journey that shaped that moment. A single snapshot cannot represent the full trajectory. Only a continuous movie can reveal true dynamics of development, instability, adaptation, and eventual outcome. TSI level describes where the system is. TSI velocity describes how fast the system is moving. TSI acceleration describes whether the system is becoming more stable or more unstable. TSI jerk describes sudden shocks and instability. Instability means the system is changing too quickly or unevenly for the body to adapt smoothly, even when blood pressure or glucose values appear acceptable. Rapid changes in these variables can still produce internal stress on blood vessels. Jerk captures abrupt changes in acceleration and therefore reveals hidden disturbances inside the biomedical system that are not visible from state level, velocity, or acceleration alone. These disturbances may represent sudden physiological adjustments, stress responses, or metabolic shifts that temporarily push the system away from equilibrium. Definition of TSI-3B jerk. TSI-3B is defined as a multiplicative interaction among 3 physiological stressors: vascular stiffness represented by pulse pressure PP, where PP equals SpO/dBp, pressure loading represented by systolic blood pressure SBP, long-term metabolic damage represented by estimated average glucose EG. TSI-3B equation. TSI-3B equals SBP dBp 45 SBP 120 EG/140 120. Velocity is defined as first difference, Vt equals TSIT. TSIT1 acceleration is defined as change of velocity, T equals V. Vt1 jerk is defined as change of acceleration, Jt equals a T or T to 1. Since the velocity and acceleration values in the dataset are multiplied by 100 to amplify visibility, the jerk values presented below are also expressed as TSI jerk *100. Calculated TSI jerk results. Based on the provided dataset, the calculated jerk values are 100 jerk 20 for 10, 401 to 20 for 11 for 707 20 for 1 to 508 20 to 501 to 598 20 to 502 to 555 20 to 503.874. 20 to 5045 to 3 20 to 505 to 298 20 to 506 to 480 20 to 507 578 20 to 508 2050 20 to 509 for 69 20 to 51016 to 520 to 511397 20 to 51 to 50 20 to 6018 to 620 to 60 to 1 to 20 to 603831. Engineering meaning of instability and jerk. From an engineering viewpoint, velocity represents movement trend, acceleration represents degree of instability. Jerk represents instability, shock intensity. Instability means the system is not changing smoothly. Instead, it is changing unevenly. Sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly. These uneven changes can create internal stress even when the absolute values appear acceptable. Large jerk magnitude indicates sudden change in system instability behavior. In simple terms, the body is forced to adjust too quickly. A system may appear stable in magnitude but still experience strong internal disturbances. Jerk reveals these hidden disturbances in many physical systems. Instability often appears before failure. Examples include repeated loading and unloading of materials, rapid redistribution of stress, sudden shifts between stable and unstable status. These behaviors often precede structural damage. Key biomedical observations from TSI jerk data. 3 major jerk shocks are clearly observed: 20-411 for 707, 20-502 555, 20-506 480. The pattern shows alternating positive and negative shocks, indicating oscillating instability in the biomedical system, other than late 2024. These large TSI jerk magnitudes occur before the stroke event of June 21, 2025. In simple terms, the system moved too quickly from a lower stress state to a higher stress state during late 2024. This rapid transition generated instability in the combined vascular and metabolic system. Although the absolute TSI level in late 2024 did not immediately trigger a stroke, the large jerk magnitude indicates that the system had already entered a sensitive and unstable regime several months before the stroke occurred in June 2025. After this early instability appeared, TSI values remained elevated through early 2025, while additional jerk fluctuations occurred around February and May 2025. These repeated instability cycles suggest that the system was unable to fully stabilize, leaving the vascular structure continuously exposed to accumulated stress. By late June 2025, the prolonged period of elevated stress combined with repeated instability likely exceeded the vascular tolerance limit, leading to the stroke event on June 21, 2025. Important biophysical observation: stroke does not occur at maximum TSI level. Stroke does not occur at maximum velocity. Stroke does not occur at maximum acceleration. Stroke occurs during periods of strong instability transition. This means the most dangerous condition is not simply high values, but unstable changes sustained over a period of time. Relationship between jerk, instability, and stroke mechanism. Acceleration already revealed that instability existed before the stroke. Jerk further identifies the sudden changes in instability behavior. A large jerk magnitude represents an abrupt shift in internal physiological adjustment, indicating that the biomedical system is experiencing rapid redistribution of stress. Repeated instability forces the vascular system to continuously adapt. When the speed of change becomes too fast, the vascular structure may not have sufficient to metacompensate. This type of behavior resembles fatigue processes observed in engineering systems, where repeated stress cycles gradually accumulate damage, and a sudden redistribution of internal force may trigger structural failure. Similarly, repeated fluctuations in blood pressure and glucose may gradually weaken vascular stability. Stroke therefore appears to occur when instability exceeds the adaptive capacity of the vascular system. This explains why stroke occurrence is associated more closely with instability over time than with a single peak magnitude. TSI dynamic hierarchy. The dynamic structure of the TSI framework can be understood as a progressive description of system behavior. TSI level represents the magnitude of physiological stress acting on the vascular system. TSI velocity describes the direction and speed of change of that stress. TSI acceleration reflects the degree of instability within the system. TSI jerk captures sudden changes in instability behavior. RVI represents the efficiency of recovery toward a safer and more stable condition. Together, these 5 layers describe not only how large the stress is, but also how the system evolves over time. Interpretation of stroke occurrence. The data suggests a progressive mechanism rather than a sudden isolated event. A relatively long period of elevated TSI creates accumulated vascular stress. Fluctuations in velocity indicate unstable directional changes in the system trajectory. Acceleration spikes reveal periods of instability in system dynamics. Large jerk values further indicate rapid changes in internal physiological adjustment. Stroke appears to occur when instability changes faster than the vascular structure can adapt to maintain equilibrium. In other words, the system fails during a transition period rather than at the point of maximum stress magnitude. This is part 1.